Kia ora, good morning. I'm about to go and get my babies for Easter Friday. They're coming today. So I'm all prepared and ready to go. I'm just sitting here waiting for them to wake up so I can get on the bus and go and get them. And I'm sitting here thinking about how much everything costs nowadays and how hard it's been over the last sort of week and a half to get to the end of the month, which everybody in Britain and a lot of people in the world, especially in America right now, are going to know exactly what I'm talking about. But the thing is, even though it was hard getting through the last week and a half, I've had to ration my food. Like it was it was that bad. And then of course I go to pay my bills and everything's gone up exponentially. And it's like, when you're sitting here thinking, like, I've never ever taken my boys out on a date, ever, and it's always something I've promised to do, and all I want to do is make sure I've got enough in the bank to give them the best Easter ever, because we've had a couple of Easters where we were kept apart from each other. And so this means a lot to me because it's our first Easter since 2022, but we never really celebrated Easter because I didn't believe in God. We didn't believe in God. We didn't believe in all of that pagan stuff. We didn't, so towards the last few years of the boys' lives, we just would say to them, do you want money or do you want Easter eggs? And they'd always take the money. So, that's how much we didn't celebrate Easter. So now, here I am, I've invented Easter cookies that my boys and my test subject neighbours have said are so yummy that they highly, highly recommend that I get my products based around these resurrection cookies on the market, thusly, henceforthly, immediately, thus, like my desserts and that I've made from it are so yum, like chop, chop, get it done now, Debbie Lee, sort of thing. I'm now a reverend. I have a very different way of preaching and teaching the Word of God, because to me God is many, 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 many gods, because I'm Indigenous. And here I am getting excited about spending Easter with my babies. And I made it to the end of the month finally, and I'm, breathing in a little about how much today's going to cost. But I don't care, because I'm just so happy that I get to spend this wonderful holiday with my babies as a mother, with it being a spring festival, with it being about, the celebration of spring and Persephone rising from the underworld to, welcome in the spring with with her mother Demeter, the forest goddess, the nature goddess. Mother Mary has come down, Jesus Christ has come down. It's all about fertility and the birth of the mother-father unit. There'll be a lot of people falling in love right now, finding their soulmates and wanting to procreate. That's the mother of my child. That's the father of my child. Like, you just know. A lot of that's going to be happening right now, especially because we've got Saturn and Neptune and Mars and all that floating about. The thing is, they're not as bad as they are always perceived to be. They're not as strict and as tough, because when Saturn is in feminine energy, Saturn is basically like the ovaries of the universe, just constantly fertile, constantly pumping out creative enrichment, evolutionary enrichment into the atmosphere, just with her frequency alone. And a lot of planets change, masculine and feminine frequencies, because a lot of these planets are planets of destruction, but in order for things to grow, other things have to be removed. So destruction also means growth. in the reverse. And whatever your star sign is, and your star sign of biological birth, so I'm a biological female, I'm born Scorpio, that means my masculine is Taurus. So if you're, whatever your sign is, fire sign, air sign, water sign, whatever, if you're born male or born female, your opposite, your masculine or feminine, will be, your twin. So Gemini's twin is Sagittarius. So if you're a Gemini female, your masculine will be a Sagittarian male. You'll call on your Sagittarian male self. And because my twin is Taurus and Taurus rule the kitchen cupboards, I had this sorted. So I rationed everything. And I just made it. I just had enough for a very small minimal breakfast and quite a hearty dinner, enough to fill me up to see me through. But as someone who's on like a paleo diet, a caveman diet, and because I was starved for so many years on and off by various exes and NHS hospitals and all of that, I'm used to going long periods without food, so it didn't bother me. But the thing that I'm most proud of, not only that I survived, but I found pockets of miracles popping up all over the place. I've been in absolute agony. I have been exhausted. I have been getting up and just knocking it out and knocking it out and knocking it out, doing everything I'm told, doing everything Father's told me to do, every single move I make, every single thing I say, every single thing I do is done precisely when and how I'm told to do it. And I've been seeing these little miracles popping up that helped me, push me further and further along the path, push me further and further up the ramp, so that once I figured everything out, my mind would expand and go off like a rocket. I'm just going to have a sip of my coffee. I haven't had coffee in 2 days. This is the best tasting coffee I've ever had in my life, and it's the cheapest you can buy. I totally understand Marcus Aurelius and the teachings of his philosophy. When he, and Buddhism as well, Stoics and Buddhism, their philosophies are great in teaching you to appreciate the small things. The simple things in life are always the things that mean so much. And when you get to the end of the month, with no food in your cupboard and empty freezer and that sort of thing, and you did it, you managed, you survived it, and not only that, you witnessed miracles along the way, and as a result, you got to invent something that's going to change the way the world sees space flight, home entertainment, the movie industry, the games industry, all of it. That's when you know that God is real. That's when you can't deny it. I can't believe that I'm sitting here today calling Jesus Christ my big brother and St. Michael and all the rest of them my brothers, and God my father, and God is all of them, like Zeus, Thor, like whoever the God is, like God is like, in the Bible he says he has 24 thrones, 24 kingdoms. That's because like all the main gods, all the the most famous, powerful ones are basically just different versions, different myths telling the story of the same God. He's just told in a language molded around the culture to suit the culture, which I think is actually a really beautiful thing. Because an atom is ever changing and God is ever changing, and atoms turn into whatever it is you need them to be in order to help you advance, and that's what God is. The word God means to create, and atoms create, i.e. the creation frequencies and atomic frequency, the seventh and eighth element. And then it reminded me of my Let the Sunshine dream. Because in that dream, a voice said, when I was standing in the meadow, it was like golden hour, I was wearing this white flowing dress, It was it was beautiful. I can still see it in my head. I'll put links in the description box below. And I'm about to go up a hill, and the voice says, one more mountain to climb, but don't worry, we're going to make this one easy for you. And the mountain started moving like an escalator. So I was rising without even having to do anything. And this was my mountain to climb. This is the worst I've ever been financially since I've been like independent away from my domestic abuse situation. I've never been independent on my own. I've desperately wanted independence pretty much ever since I was married. It's just that I have to be able to work around my disability now, which is my stomach, my abdomen, the problem with my abdomen. And so I've created a world around my abdomen so I can raise my children and do what I do in my time, and employ people and create jobs, which was the whole purpose of all of this. To do all the rest, and then me just kind of be not puppet master in a negative way, but you know what I mean. I'm CEO, and my boys are my like vice presidents. It's my company. All of this is my design. I came up with everything, like it's my thing, and my boys are like my collaborators and my advisors, and my investigators and all of that. They're the only two people that I trust when it comes to this stuff. If I let you in, I let you in to test your loyalty. Because I've had plenty of people try and steal my ideas, as we know. Chris and his cult, Elon Musk, Donald Trump, blah, blah, blah. They all steal my stuff. And then if you do, you're caught in the net. And then that's when you get karma. Because I'm an anglerfish. I'm not the prey, I'm the bait. And how you treat me is going to decide your fate, you see. So if I trust you with my ideas or inventions or stuff like that, if I'm letting you in, it's an ultimate show of faith for me, because I'm constantly stolen from. But that's their test, not mine. Because I passed my test. I just passed my test. And in my dream, let the sun shine. I call it let the sun shine. When I get to the top of the hill, I say this great speech. And I tell the people about how, don't fear what's coming, and it's all going to be great, and, yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. But in that dream, I had Buffalo and my children with me. But I don't. I have my children. But there's no Buffalo on the sideline sort of thing. Like, I mean, sort of, kind of, but not anyone that's a constant, if you know what I mean. But I'm at the top of the hill, top of the mountain, and I'm shouting it out. I can't believe God's real. I can't believe this whole thing is real. I can't believe we are witnessing the book of Revelation. I can't believe we are watching Revelation like happening, unfolding right in front of our eyes. It's undeniable. Granted, about 70% of the Bible is man's word, not God's, which is, I'm here to correct all of that. But the stuff that is him is friggin' mind-blowing. As a scientist, as someone who was raised Catholic, who became not an atheist, skeptical, because I didn't believe in God, but it's because the God I knew wasn't the God that was being represented to me as a Catholic. That wasn't that God was someone I was told I had to fear, and that every move I made that displeased him was gonna, cause me to be like turned into salt or given over to slavery and all that. That it just didn't make sense to me. And then when that priest slapped me after I asked that question, if Adam and Eve were the first man and woman, and they had Cain and Abel took 2 wives, where did the wives come from? That's all I said, and I got slapped in the face. That's when I knew there can't be a God. So yeah, from the age of like what was I, 13, 14, to the age of 16, I knew I had to go on a journey to find the truth. And I discovered, like quantum magnetics unfolded. And I thought quantum magnetics was using physics to prove that God wasn't real. And I walked smack bang straight into the complete opposite. And I can't believe that it's all real. As a scientist, the evidence absolutely cannot be denied. I'm just going to have a sip of my coffee. It's the sort of thing where you have to do a double take, where you like have to blink your eyes and rub your eyes like, did I just see that? Did that really just happen? Did I just witness that? Did I really just do that? How can you explain it other than supernatural? I, I've seen miracles over the last week. I've seen things happen in front of me. Even I, as a scientist, was not expecting. Even I, as a time jumper, didn't see coming. And now I'm saying that, but I did see it coming. I was telling myself that this stuff was coming because that dream, Let the Sun Shine, is me saying everything that's happening right now as we speak. My dreams have been letting me know what's coming. And I still didn't see it coming. The codes are hard to understand until divine timing, eh? And because a lot of my stuff is bilocation or multi-location jumps, my codes can be perfect for like multiple different examples of events that have played out or yet to play out or currently playing out in my life, because time exists all at once. And it can be, I can think like, oh, yep, that's it. That's what the code means. And then something else will happen. I'll be like, oh, that's what it means. And then something else will happen and it'll be even more accurate. And I'm like, oh, so like each time I try to figure it out and I think I've figured it out, and then it turns out I haven't even begun to figure it out. But that was just the beginning of me figuring it out. It's been like stepping stones of my rise to quantum magnetics. And I've said to my boys when they get here, I want to finish making the Quantum Menace video game. Just having another drink, that's why I'm gulping and burping, my stomach's going blip. You have no idea how good that coffee tastes. Yeah, and so now what I've invented out of all of it, through these little miracles unfolding, through me forging ahead, through me just putting my head down and barreling through the finger pointers and the naysayers and the storm going on behind me or around me, I've just put my head down, and the stuff that I have been creating as a result has blown even my mind, because now I can't deny the existence of God and Jesus. I mean, I always kind of suspected Jesus might have been real, that he existed in real life in history, but once you see them the way that they actually are, the way they're actually presenting themselves, you can't unsee it anymore in comparison to how the Bible and religion teaches you who these people are. Friggin' hell. The Virgin Mary is so, like, she's probably the force du jour when it comes to supernatural ability. She's the one that taught me bilocation or bilocation. She was my teacher for bilocation, and she taught St. Joan of Arc as well. She would basically be Saturn in the feminine. Saturn in the feminine frequency would be the epitome of the Virgin Mary. Because if the opposite, what's the opposite to Satan? The Virgin. You know, the king of the sinner, the queen of the saintly. So, I can't believe it's all real. And now we've got Easter Friday tomorrow, and my babies are due soon in a couple of hours, and I've got a lovely day planned where we're going to go to the movies and get fish and chips. And boy, oh boy, do I appreciate this cheap bag of ground house blend co-op coffee, because you can sit in a mansion with all the money in the world, but if you don't appreciate where that dollar came from, you're going to lose it really fast. And I'm in no way comparing this to Jews after the Holocaust or anyone who has survived a Holocaust, but I understand the importance of savouring food when you have it. And I understand why a lot of Jews became hoarders of food and not obsessed, but were adamant to make sure that, when they recovered and got on their feet and started making money and building a life for themselves, that they always had food for their families. Always, always. Working their asses off to make sure that they always had food for their families, because I'm exactly the same. I kept the boys away for the last week and a half because I knew I wouldn't be able to afford to feed them if they came to stay, which was heartbreaking. But now I'm going to make it up to them today, because I only just had enough to feed myself. But my God, the stuff that came out of the last week and a half's journey, I can't even put a price on it. And yet there are millionaires and billionaires out there sitting pretty with their whatever fancies going into their gut and on their bodies and around their lifestyles, and that have no idea how good a £3 bag of ground coffee costs when you haven't had coffee for 2 days because you haven't been able to afford to buy food. And I'm so grateful for the experience, man, because as a result, that level of concentration that I had to keep myself busy, keep myself focused, has now created Mina and my rocket ship, Lil Red, which I'm named after Queen Elizabeth. So Mina's like what you're going to use in your home, but Lil Red's going to be the one to take it up, to help bring that experience to you, and then future generations of kids in my my North Star cadets program can take it even further. So the foundation is important, which is why it's in the book of Revelation, because it's going to completely change the way people see God and the universe and creation and evolution, which is exactly what God said in the Bible. You'll take me with you wherever you go, because when you sit in my booth, you're going to be standing with your Creator in real time, in real life, for real. You will be your own Neil Armstrong. You will be your own Buzz Lightyear. You will be your own E.T. because you'll be phoning home. You'll be sitting in the phone booth that I created. So you see, the God phone, my rocket ship, it's my gaming console, it's my Lil Red, it's my space project, it was all meant to come together to become one thing. They can both exist without each other. Which comes first, the chicken or the egg? It doesn't really matter. It depends on where you look on the timeline. So, but if you put the chicken in the egg, my God, are you going to see a lot of things hatch. And it's going to blow open people's minds. And then you'll see what I see. You'll be able to stand in the ethers and see the creation frequency off in the distance, and it's going to make every single person who engages in my Mina, it's going to make them creators of their own universe. How cool is that? And we all get to be a part of it together. So I just need to find the engineer. I just need to find the country to help me do it. But whoever does it, they're going to make history. They will absolutely be making history. A spaceship to God. Bearing in mind, God isn't the guy who sits on a cloud with a white beard. And I had a dream that I will also put in a link in the description box below, where I turned into a wisp of light and flew into space through all these little TV screens and stuff, and now I get it. And in that dream, Jesus Christ reveals himself, which is why my mind is bummed, because I can't believe all of this is real. And tomorrow's Easter Friday, Good Friday. And my God, what an awesome Friday it's going to be. So I'll put links in the description box below for the Let the Sunshine Dreams and the one where Jesus announces himself once again. At the resurrection holiday. The resurrection of Christ. Christ has been resurrected. And the proof is undeniable, which is why my mind is blown. And look at what they've just helped me create. Once I find investors, because I'm not going to be able to take this project on my own with my lawsuit money, unless, I can, if I can move to a country where weed is legal, because I want to get into the weed business, because it's a multi-billion-dollar business if you know what to do with it, which I do, because it's a plant, and I'm Taurus, Earth, and Papatuanuku is my homegirl, and she grows it. So, and the gods tell me what to do, so I know what to do with it, and I'm going to make a lot of money from it, and then I might be able to fund it then, but it might just take longer. But if I can get investors who are righteous, who are doing this to make history and to change the way people see religion and science, which was the prophecy, remember, the girl from the islands. If they're doing this for the right reason and not because they know it's going to make them gajillions of money, then I will talk to them. But they have to be in it for the right reasons, for the righteous reasons, and not because it's going to make a lot of money. And I promise you, this is going to make a lot of money, and people won't need NASA and SpaceX anymore, because, as the Council of Elders keeps saying, their technology is archaic. They use fuels, we don't. So we're powered by the mind now. Having a sip, hang on. So, while other people might have looked at my last week and a half and thought, my God, she's really struggled, she's really gone through it this week and a half, looking back, even though I can see where I'm going with pinpoint accuracy, looking back, when I see exactly what it is I've just come from and what it is I've just survived and what it is I've just done, it is undeniable that God is real, that Jesus is real, that Mary is real, that it's all real. It's only the Bible that needs reinterpretation. But once you see it, you can't unsee it. And it changes your life. And I honestly feel like I'm walking on air. Like I've been raised. I've risen above to see the bigger picture, and what an incredible tapestry it has woven, that I now get to sit here and put it out into the ethers. Look at what I just created, because I believed in God. So I'll put a link in the description box below for the dreams, so you can see for yourself that I knew this was coming, and Jesus, my brother, was just waiting for me to catch up. He has to be the centre of attention. He has to take credit for everything. But it's his time to shine, so let's give him his moment. Yay, brother. And I'm going to finish my coffee and work on my accents. And yeah, I'm going to have a meeting. I need to put the finishing touches on the Quantum Menace video game. I also want to work on the storyline for Mother Knows Best, my other horror movie, my slasher movie. And what was the other thing? The Art of Creation. Some storylines with my boys for the Art of Creation, and also, yeah, a couple of other things, a couple of other games, but mostly the Quantum Menace and Mother Knows Best. So I'll be working with my son, Thomas, because he's my writing partner, my collaborator for writing. So while Gabriel, my food business partner, can sit and rate my sticky toffee pudding and uncooked fudge slice. One's a British favourite, one's a Kiwi favourite. So there you go. Right, so I don't know if I'm going to have a chance to upload before my boys go back tomorrow. Boo-hoo. It won't be forever though. I'm so grateful that I even get this with them now, that I'm not complaining that I don't have them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But that's not going to be able to happen until I have the money to feed them. Because they're feeding my boys as a 24-hour job, because they're Viking warrior bloodline, and they're only just starting to grow, and they're already at like 5'11" and 6'6" or something. So yes, and we need a bigger place because this place is way too small. So yep, just patiently waiting and building my empire as we go. And little did I know, I ended up building my own spaceship, my own UFO, my own don't even know, my own miracle of God. So have a wonderful Easter if you celebrate. If not, have a wonderful spring harvest. Love the ones you're with and enjoy every minute of your life, because it can all change on a dime. And you never know when it's all going to get taken away. And you're going to find a £3 bag of coffee, the nicest damn coffee you're ever going to have in your life. I'm going to be travelling the world, finding indigenous coffee companies to do business with, to sell their product in Miss Mouse's brew house and in my department store. And I can guarantee you they're going to be considered like award-winning coffees, and none of them will taste as nice as this coffee that I am now savouring, because I've had to go 2 days without coffee, because like I need my coffee in the morning. And coffee is actually really good for you, believe it or not. So yeah, so we're going to be producing the best. I'm only the best. My customers will only get the best. My clients will only get the best. So here we go. Let's see where this takes us next, eh? I'll speak to you later. Hold your head up high and know you are loved, because it's irrefutable proof now. Okay, so I'll speak to you later. Hold your head up high. Ka kite anō. Happy Easter. Happy resurrection, brother.